Hello! Getting old tubers, is that what we are now? Millennials, post-millennials, I don't know. And probably some younger viewers, but I'm expecting for a Game Boy game, probably targeting a different demographic than the new kids playing the new Pokemons on their Nintendo Switches. But welcome to a streamed Let's Play this time around. So if you're wondering, this is a recorded live on YouTube sort of thing. So you might see chat, or actually technically, you won't see chat because I don't have the chat overlay on screen because it's broken. But there may be questions in chat that I answer. Otherwise, we don't really do a lot of the standard streamer 500 notification icons popping up because that's not how I roll. Anyway, so it's me, your pal BlueAnkylo, playing Pokemon PureRed is the name of the Romhack. And it's fairly recent as of recording date in November 2023. I think it's been updated pretty recently, and it's probably been around for a while, but I'll have a link. I will have a link in the stream description, and then hopefully I remember to put it in the video description if you want to also check it out. It is for the Game Boy, although if you're playing it through an emulator, it will run it in the Game Boy Color, or actually the Super Game Boy. And I don't want to get into all the technicalities here, but, you know, back in the day, there was a cool attachment for your Super Nintendo where you could plug in Game Boy games into it, and it actually upgraded the color palette even further than the Game Boy Color. So the hack, I believe, utilizes a bunch of the Super Game Boy features, which is why it looks a little better than it probably did on the original Game Boy. And I can still, of course, as an emulator, I can tweak a bunch of resolution settings and stuff, and I'm pretty happy with how it looks right now. It's pretty sharp. It didn't do a lot of blending or anything, but it kind of smooths the pixels a little bit, because, you know, original Game Boy is like 150 pixels wide or something like that. It's pretty small resolution. Anyway, so a little bit more about the hack. Overall, the thing I like about what I was looking for there's actually a ton, way more than I expected of Generation 1 Pokemon hacks. But what I was specifically looking was one that was relatively true to the original, but let you catch them all, which is, of course, the thing, right? But I didn't want to have, like, 400 or 500. I didn't want to have future generations. I didn't want to have all kinds of, you know, infinity Pokemon. I just like, you know, the ones that were in the core game, except I don't want to have to trade with friends to get the version-specific ones. And I'm sure everyone, unless you lived under a rock, knows that, like, every generation of Pokemon has, like, you know, specific that you're supposed to trade with someone to get. And then also your starters, which you only get one of, and you have to, like, you know, mess around to try to get some way of getting a second or third of the other starters, plus you only get one Eevee, and you have to choose between a Hitmonchan and a Hitmon. You know, there's a whole bunch of, like, you can't get all of them on a one run kind of thing. It's a dumb gimmick that I always hated. So this hack, for instance, gets rid of that. All 151 are available. Some of them are very rare, and some of them, I actually think they should have had in-game trades for some of them. There are in-game trades, but nothing unique, which I actually think would have been smart. But regardless, anyway, it's fine. It's like in the original game, I think the only way to get a Mr. Mime was to trade something, right? I think in this one, they're all capturable in the wild, basically, even if it's a low percent. But anyway, it's all good. So I like that. It also has a bunch of quality of life features, like you get the running shoes from the future, and a lot of things are sped up, like animations and screen scrolls and stuff, which is good. Menus are better. They kind of remember your position when you're using your fishing rod or whatever. There's a shortcut for the bike. A bunch of stuff like that just makes it play a little better, which definitely good, because I don't like wasting time when I'm playing these old grindy RPGs. Other than that, there are some other changes that might be potentially controversial. I'm not going to get into the full list, but I will show on screen sort of the quick overview here, because I meant to do that while I was chatting about it. So this is the link on romhacking.net, and you can credits to the developers, of course, as usual. You guys can certainly read all these at your own. But yeah, some of the main things, one of the things that is maybe the most controversial is that the move set is rebalanced. So there are new moves that don't exist in Pokemon Red or Blue or any future game. They are, theoretically, I was reading through the docs, they are like beta moves that are in the code but were never used, and then they're tweaked. And the idea, I think, is to make some of the less used types more useful. So usually in old gens, right, Bug and Poison really didn't have any good offensive moves, like, at all. So this adds, like, some maybe Flamethrower tier Poison whatever, just all the different types have at least some offensive moves, so they're not completely garbage. So I think that's like a good idea. You can see that here, bug, poison, ghost. So, you know, they added some moves that were probably missing. Whether or not it's a good change, I mean, we'll see. I'm not, you know, I don't want to say like I'm the Pokemon expert, like I said. I'm just a guy that played some Pokemon. So you can catch them all. There's some different moves. The moves are, and there are changes to the move set, so that's weird. Pokemon have had some type rebalance. Now, you can turn this off if you don't like it, if you're playing along. But it does say, like, for instance, Ninetales is Fire Ghost instead of just Fire. I actually think this is generally a good change, although, again, it's tweaking it from the vanilla intent of the original game. But maybe Game Freak, when they developed the first game, maybe with all the bugs and exploits, maybe they didn't know how to balance the game anyway. So maybe someone thinking about it in 2023 could do a better job. So instead of having 5 grass poison Pokemon, 5 fire only Pokemon, and whatever rock ground, you know, all the classics that there's just tons of repeats. They try to vary it up a bit. So Ninetales is Fire Ghost to differentiate it from the dog and the cat, and you know, they all have a slightly different niche. Maybe we'll see. Other than that, they fixed a bunch of bugs. There's the truck, the playground secret hack that someone's dad worked at Nintendo is finally true, and you can get Mew from under the truck, so that's great. And yeah, there's a MoveDex to explain the new moves in the game. There's a bit of a post-game, I don't know much about that yet. And there's some secret areas, some expanded content. Honestly, it's amazing how much stuff they fit into a Game Boy ROM. I'm quite impressed, even if it's not to everyone's liking. I think this is pretty cool. So that's one of the main reasons we're here. It's pretty big list of changes. You can permanently remove a bunch of trees. Oh boy. You can get both fossils, you know, yada yada yada. Same one. So pretty cool. Oh, I guess I missed it. I should have used the blue run instead of the red one. I'm playing the red version technically, but yeah, it's fine. Anyway, that's the quick info. If you want to get into more depth, there is oh, that's just my cheating. Don't forget how those work. But there's a full GitHub feature list if you really want to get into it. I've skimmed through some of this about how the settings work, and we'll go through a few of these when we get going. But I'm not going to read through, you know, 100 pages of notes. Anyway, that's your pretty long intro to the hack. We're just going to get to it. Although there is one more thing. I do want to briefly talk about my sort of light rules on the channel for this run. I am... Yeah, Duke got it in the chat before I could say it, but yeah, I could have used the blue ROM and had it say blue. So that would have, if you care about the title screen and some color palettes, you know, you can use it. I didn't have that in my head at the time, but yes, that is definitely true. Okay, so some light rules. I'm not going to be doing a Nuzlocke or anything super hardcore. You know, sometimes kind of hardcore. Mainly, I don't know the changes in this hack well enough, or even the base game. Let's be honest, to really attempt a permadeath kind of run that, you know, is pretty popular I hear these days. But I am going to have some light rules. So one thing is you don't want to overgrind and get too high a level. Classic old school Pokemon, you just pick one, basically, overlevel it, and sweep the entire game. We're not going to do that. That's definitely not the intent. We might need to do some grinding. That's fine. I've got a plan for it. But I'm going to try not to go overboard. Some people I've seen trying to make the game harder will pick, like, the next gym leader's highest level Pokemon and say, we're not allowed to level up higher than that. Well, I don't know what that is, so I don't know. But, you know, if I feel like my guys are higher level than the enemies, I'm going to not grind them anymore, kind of thing. And just try to keep the game moving. I am going to try to get a full Pokedex, because that's one of the selling features of this hack. So, unless it's incredibly difficult, we're going to try to get all 151. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's not the end, but we're going to try. I'm also going to try not to spam a bunch of items in specifically trainer battles. I don't really care about wild Pokemon, but it is a bit cheesy to just spam revives and full restores just to win every fight, right? Like, enemy trainers get like a few items they can use, so let's not say we can just spam like 100. Now, there's kind of a limited money, so it's not like you really have infinite. There's a maximum amount of cash you're going to get. But I'm going to try not to just spam them. My limit for that is I'll probably be willing to use status removers mid-battle, and if I'm really in a pinch on a surprise that I wasn't expecting, then maybe I'll allow like a couple healing potions or something, but not going to be like, let's just use 5 revives per fight to win it, basically. So small item use allowed, but not crazy. I'm also going to try not to use my standard set of Gen 1 Pokemon that I always use. Because I'm old and I have like my favorites that I almost always use in a base run. I'm going to try to use new types because they're different in this hack. And also, I just have never used a whole bunch of them. Because, you know, so we're not going to start with Charmander because that's what I always pick usually, especially when I was a kid. I've played a fair bit of Gen 1, but I almost always go Charmander. I almost always use a Geodude for most of the game. I almost always use a Kadabra for most of the game. I almost always use a Gyarados for most of the game. I generally have a Pikachu, Raichu, and sort of like the standard set of elementals that are good early games. You know, one of the grass ones, Bellsprout or Oddish, and you know, I don't know if that's what other people do, but for me, I kind of have a standard set of 6 or 7 or 8 that I basically always use. We're going to try not to use those. I'm going to try to show off some new ones, and there's some new typings, like I noticed just looking at it. Doduo, you can get much earlier now than halfway through the game, and is Flying Ground, which is a pretty interesting combo, honestly. So maybe we'll take one of them, because usually you just have a stupid pigeon. So let's get something better than basic normal flying. Anyway, the light rules, like I said, and we'll be doing some speed ups where we'll go fast forward if we need to do grind. But I would like to listen to the music, and we'll talk to the NPCs. I might do a little bit of silly voice acting. I'm not going to 100% every dialogue box, but we'll talk about it as we go. Standard BlueAnkylo style of commentary. Anyway, that's more than enough starting. We spent 10 minutes just without even pressing a button, so let's get to it. We're going to go through the options. I do need to go through the options because some of these are important. We'll go fast text. We'll leave battle animation on. I know a lot of hardcore Pokemoners like the set style, battle style, where if you're really unfamiliar, if I understand correctly, if when your enemies faint, Shift lets you, when they change to a new Pokemon, you can also counter change to them, so kind of they'll pick a new one and then you have a chance to counter into that as well. It basically makes it really easy to sweep an entire group. Set means I think you can't get a free switch. You have to wait until after they make a switch, and then you spend your turn switching so they get an attack off, basically. I'm just going to leave it on Shift because, again, I don't know the game well enough to want it to be super hard. And maybe this will be too easy. We can change it if I care. There's some colors here. Without getting to it, you know, you got your OG original gangster, and then a couple options for, I don't know exactly. I think Super Gameboy, that's what it's saying, SGB and 1 and 2, and Y is maybe the yellow version colors. I'm going to go with SGB2, which I think is blue for Super Gameboy. And we're going to turn alternate Pokemon colors on. This doesn't mean they're all alternate. It means there are variants. So it's kind of like Shinies in Gen 1 here. And it's like places like the... what's it called? The Safari Zone will have different colors and stuff. So, hey, you know, that's kind of neat. There's a few new music tracks that I don't know about, but we'll have a couple new soundtracks that were cut from the first game. Audio pan, I think just fades out, fades in new areas. The bike song, you can just turn it off if you get tired of it. And the Game Boy Color fade is, I don't know exactly what it is, but slightly visual update, whatever. We're also going to go with the Generation 2, I think, updates to the type effectiveness list. So Gen 1, I'm pretty sure everyone knows by now, Psychic was like brokenly overpowered, and Ice was maybe a little bit overpowered, as an attacking type at least. But then in Gen 2, you know, Gold, Silver, they switched a few things, and I do not memorize all these by any stretch, but I know the move chart has changed a couple times over the years. You know, there's no Dark or Steel or Fairy back in these days, but so Psychic's a little bit too strong. So we'll make sure that instead of being immune to Ghost, it'll actually be weak to Ghost, like it is in Gen 2. And then these other changes were also Gen 2 changes. I don't know why they made Fire strong to Ice. I mean, it makes sense, I guess. Fire melts Ice. Bug used to be super effective against Poison, but I guess we're kind of switching it to Ghost. I don't know. You could leave this on. I have no idea why they changed this one. Bug's a bit weaker in general, but I know there's new moves for Bug that makes it better. And then again, similarly, Poison to Bug. I mean, I feel like I don't understand these changes at all, but you know, whatever. Anyway, we can also see an on-screen XP bar like the newer games. I'm going to turn this on. This is going to actually make things harder because I picked a couple easy modes. So NPC EVs, I'm not going to get into EVs either. Obviously, it's way too much in-depth for little BlueAnkylo here. But usually enemy trainers just have base stat Pokemons at whatever level they are, at least in the old games. In this one, they'll get, I believe I read, it's just like I don't think it's like I don't know if it's a smart set of like, we're going to focus specifically on these stats to make an optimal enemy, but it gives them like an average spread of approximately what level you are, a number of EVs. I have no idea if it will be fair or not. Just expect a stat bump to all enemy trainers, or especially like gym bosses and stuff. Also in Gen 1, enemies, trainers anyway, and I think all Pokemons, they don't have to worry about power points for their enemy move, like their moves. They never wear out, so you can get soft locked fighting like a Kadabra with special up. Calm Mind, I guess, is the ability, and recover, because you just never, like, they'll be able to infinitely recover half their health forever, and if you can't one-shot them or do more than 50% damage, they'll just do it forever, and you'll never get past them. So if they run out of PP, haha, make your jokes, that's probably for the best. And then that's it. The sprites, there are some new sprites, so you'll see these in the back sprites, that's your Pokemon in battle, and also the icons in the menu when you're moving around the computer and stuff. So we're gonna have some expanded sprite selection and slightly nicer looking sprites. It's not vanilla, we're not trying to play vanilla hack here. Yeah, so Gen 1, just it's good to remember. There's special is attack and defense. It's the only Gen, I guess Gen 1 and 2 I think had physical attack as a stat, physical defense as a stat, speed, which also affects your critical rate, super fair, and special. And special was both offense and defense for special. It also has, I think they didn't change till Gen 4 or 5, where the move type is set to either physical or special. Later on, you could have a fire physical and a fire special move, but in this generation, all fire moves are special, as are water, electric, grass. I don't know the full list, but if it sounds vaguely physical, fighting, normal, I think bug, rock, earth, those kind of things, those will be using your physical attack defense stats, whereas the more magical sounding ones will be using your special stat. Yeah, so it is kind of using the out-of-date Gen 1 mechanics, but they've tried to tweak it by adding some new moves and changing some types around. So we'll see how it goes, right? Like I said, I have very little basis to say if this is a good or worse change, but I think it's definitely interesting. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start. So, say hello to your teacher, Oak, who you never went to school with. He's just some guy down the road. Your best friend's grandpa, whatever it is. I don't know. The story doesn't really matter. Well, this is my channel, so this is blue. We're not actually blue, we're red, oddly enough, but it's fine. I'll give actual blue a different name because, I always love, this was a great feature. I'm sure people have said this many times, but the fact that this is one of the, very few games that you name your characters in the NES Game Boy days is just not very common. But some games let you name your main characters if you had 4 or 5 characters to fit in there. This was one of the very few games that let you name your enemy. So that was pretty cool because, you could just give him a boring name. Or you could call him, something funny. Like Butthead. Oh, there's not quite enough. We'll just call him, well, I guess we could go like Butts, Final Fantasy V or something like that. What would be a good name for our rival? I will take, when we're catching Pokemons too, I didn't mention it earlier, but I'll take name suggestions from chat if anyone has great ones. Because I'm going to try to name most of the stuff we catch, because it's kind of fun. We'll call him, you know what, I don't really have any great names on top of my head. We're just going to call him Stink. It's not a very good name, but he stinks. We could call him Stinker. There's enough characters for it. There you go. Alright, good. Most important part of the game is naming your rival. His name is Stinker. That's what his grandpa calls him. Alright, cool. Let's turn into a tiny 8x8 pixel. Playing our Super Nintendo. Time to go. Can't just play video games all day and night. But yes, you start. Here's first quality of life. Hold down the button to run from the beginning. So good. Also, I think you'll notice, if you remember the original, menus and stuff load quicker. Just one of those things. But I think other than that, it's all pretty... Yeah, I'm going to delete my test game. It's fine. You guys don't need to know what I did on my own. And you can get back to your menu. All the extra pages are still here if you want to change them. So you can mid-game, if you're like, man, I don't feel like these changes to the battle types are fair, you can just undo them in any point if you want. So it's actually, like, that's a pretty good feature. I like that. Alright, let's go get out there. All boys leave home. Yeah, she saw it on TV. Once your kid is 10, they just walk out the door and fight dragons. It's fine. I'm just gonna chat with people because there's some new characters and little side quests and little bits from the hack. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on it, but I do want to make sure I catch it. Yeah, stuff like this. This is new. So you can move items to storage without going to a computer. You can't get them back, but you can take things here and move it to your PC wirelessly, I guess. So that's a very nice quality of life feature. Inventory management was a real pain back in Gen 1. Also, enjoy these old Pokemon tunes. Hope you guys can hear them. Yeah, we got lots of just lore about good old Professor Oak, who's not here. There's just Stinker. Yeah. And we can't steal the Pokemons or nothing, so we gotta go trigger a scripted fight. We've also got his older sister. Great. Anyway, let's get this show on the road. What a great place to live. There's 3 houses in our town, and if you walk outside of this town square, you're immediately killed by killer rats and pigeons, basically. They just... I wonder how many children died being killed by rat-a-tats. Because, like, there's not always an adult watching the grass, right? These other adults are just lounging around. There's a reason there's only 2 children left in this village. They were all eaten. Alright, so... time to be the very best, like no one ever was. We're gonna pick a Pokeball. He only has 3 babies left after he retired. Classic boomer. So, like I said, no Charmander, because that's the one I usually pick. So that's fine. We're gonna not go with the best Pokemon. So that means, do we go... I think if I'm trying to go with my least picked ones, it's probably Bulbasaur. Now, I know this makes the first 2 gyms, like, trivial, but, like, I never use this guy. Like, the basic grass moves are so bad in Gen 1. Oh boy, Absorb. And, like, it's nice, but... I'm gonna say he's my least used, so we're gonna go with this one. Oh, it hurts. I should have taken the blue one. At least Squirtle's pretty good, right? Alright. What are we gonna name them? Yeah, we gotta at least try to name these guys. Bulbasaur. What did they say he was? He's a grass dragon? I don't know. You need this little silpscope to see all the dead kids' spirits? Yeah, actually. Maybe the dark side of Pokemon. What do we want to call our starter today? I don't want to spend too long trying to find good names, but I would like to name them. So let's just, off the cuff, we'll go with, I don't even know what these are used, like, I've used these so rarely, I don't even know what they, like, they've got Vine Whip, right? It's like their signature move. They whip it. Yeah, that's where we're going. Because I don't know very much about them. So that's how they get named, basically. I'm gonna think of their moves or what little bit of lore I remember, and we're gonna make a stupid name off of it. Alright, whip it good! You get the cool fire dragon. Well, you say that. Just like every 10-year-old. Let's take our new slaves and fight to the death. Okay, Duke, if we get a Drowsy later, I'll try to remember that one for later. Isn't the lore for them that they like randomly kidnap kids or something? Some of the lore for some of the Pokemons are just absolutely bonkers. It's not a safe world to live in. Alright, Whip It. Look at that nice back sprite there. And all the colors. It's even the right colors. It's not... It doesn't normally look like this on the Game Boy. Anyway, you know, the trick to these starter fights is just attack and hope the enemy uses the other stupid moves that lower your stats. But we might lose, because Charmander's probably better overall than Bulbasaur. Okay, Growl. One cool feature... I said I'm no Pokemon expert, but I do know a lot of random facts. In Gen 1, criticals ignore stat ups or downs. So no matter how many times we get growled, if we get a crit, we'll still do lots of damage. But that also works against you if you go attack up, then you get a crit and do less damage. Like I said, it was really well programmed, amazingly well done. So far, I mean, as long as he just growls, we'll win, but he could probably win if he just attacks normally. The only way you beat this matchup is if the enemy trainer is stupid. Also, I'm pretty sure... Did we miss? Stupid 90... No, he missed. Never mind, we got lucky. That's the 95% accuracy, I think. I think we got this. It's just bad trainer AI. I will say, I have noticed in my little test run that I think generally enemy trainers... I think, for one, they have better movesets. And I think their AI is actually a little better than it was in the original game. So, it is a little harder than normal. But we actually win by pressing A, and we get nice amount of XP. Alright, stats don't matter. I mean, they do, but... The standing I mean... Look, I can't remember what he looks like normally, because I never picked him. So, maybe he looks a little different than his standard back sprite, but... I couldn't tell you. Alright, good start. The run is blessed by a victory. Grass defeats fire somehow. Alright, we're good, right? You want me to go pick up some stuff? Just wander through some grass full of deadly birds and rats and pick me up some potions. Maybe we should say goodbye to our mom. That's, you know, we're good kids, right? Just tells you to go to bed. Oh, you've been running around in the grass too long. Take a nap. Mom, I'm 10. Alright. So there's not... I mean, I don't remember all the details. There's also a lot of weird hidden items. So, once we get the item finder, I'll start trying to find stuff hidden. I do not remember all the random click on this tile to get stuff. Sometimes you can see, like, a different tile set or something. But a lot of times it's just a random bush that you click on to get items, so... They're also changed, so they're not the vanilla items either, so that's kind of nice. Alright, our first random encounter with a rat. So, I will be, before very long, speeding up these kinds of fights. When there's... Well, we're only 3 levels above him, but, you know, there's really no way he wins this, so... The first rat gets eaten by the grass dinosaur. Very nutritious. It's extra, called fertilizer for our plant friend. Alright, let's keep moving. So glad we can dash. Man, everything's just a little bit faster. You can jump down the ledges. And if you have a bike in future games, you can bike up the ledges. We don't know how to do that yet. No trick bikes. Alright, well, we have the classic rats and birds. Nothing new yet, but I promise you there are lots of changes to the possible catches, even in the early games. So we can make a different team than normal. Like, sure, I might catch a Rattata and a Pidgey because, you know, that is part of the list you need to capture if you're going to get them all. But I probably won't use the standard ones. If there's any options, I'll try to use them instead. Well, there we go. Now we can sort of never pay to heal, I guess. But that's it. That's your first route done. And we make it to... I do like... Well, in a black and white game, they named all the towns after colors. It's so genius. I actually don't have any Pokeballs on my waist. Just the one. And if you're playing yellow. So yeah, we got a block road. You got to do some... You know, plot here before you move. He hasn't had his coffee yet. There are some new rooms, though, so I don't think we're allowed past yet. You can't go past here. It's private property. Oh, man, this world. It's just like real life. But, yeah, there's going to be some new stuff, so I got to search this town. I do remember a little bit of this. Coming up with nicknames is hard, but fun. Yeah, it's real life. Just like that. Spiro, named Speary. I mean, that's not very... See, they don't just say their name. It said to tweet. This is the schoolhouse? Yeah, there's a stairs here. They didn't used to be there. So we're gonna spend a little bit of time at school. There's a reason, though. Status changes. Do you want to learn about Pokemons? If you're asleep, you can't attack. Wow. Sleep is actually really bad in Gen 1. You don't get to attack the turn you wake up like you do in future gens. And it can last, like, forever. So, yeah, it's rough. Burn secrets that isn't displayed in the game generally very well. You half attack. Take damage and lower your physical attack. Doesn't really matter if you're doing special attacks, but real bad for physical attackers. Poisoned also takes damage. But it's strictly worse than burn, because you don't have a stat penalty. Freeze! You don't get to attack at all. It's kind of like sleep. Except you just stay frozen and never get a turn. That sucks. And finally, paralyze. You have a chance to not attack. I think it's like 25%, and you get half speed as well. So, yeah. Those are all the ailments for now. Nothing too exciting. We have basement classrooms, yeah, because this is it's a ground-based town, yeah. It's great, I love it. This is 1A, Pokemon Basics. Everyone go to school, take out your notes. I skipped 3 grades, I'm super smart! So here's your stab bonus. If you really don't know Pokemon, if you have a type, if the Pokemon is, let's say, fire, well, we have a grass. We'll say we have a grass Pokemon. It uses a grass move. It does 50% more damage. Oh boy. Cutest Pokemon. Not really. Don't distract me. The tiny girl insulted his superior intellect. Yeah, you can tell this is the person that wrote this is a true Pokemon expert that put the dialogue for all the nerds here. Psychic are near unstoppable. Well, they are kind of weak Bug and Ghost. Or you can change it and have no weaknesses if you wanted, I guess. If you thought Psychic type should be even better, you could make them take 0 from Psychic. Oh, I guess there's no Bug. You can't change Bug versus Psychic. But you could keep them immune to Ghost attacks. Oh, well. We're not going to do that. Schools for losers. Cool people learn about Pokemon by battling. Yeah, I agree, honestly. I played this game, we did not go to school and take notes. We just fought stuff and didn't know what we were doing. You learn by dying. Please report to the detention off room for battling during class. Alright. Aw, shucks. So we just got that guy, like, expelled. I already talked to this. Alright. Any other important things? There is going to be a test, though, we need to learn. Fire beats grass. Grass beats water. I think that's the note that used to be on the top floor, right? It does take a lot of memorization. Just be glad there's no dark steel fairy combos yet. Because it gets real complicated. And yeah, if you're really old like me, did you know there's fairy now? Whew, I don't even know what that's good against. I'm a teacher in training, helping out. Did you know? Oh, right. There's a move that has 3 elements. Yeah, okay. Tri-attack is going to be a bit weird. I don't actually know exactly how it works. It's a mystery. Oh, so one of the changes, Duke, is the train evolutions now evolve at level 37, I think. So pretty high level, higher than your starter, but they just automatically can go into the final level, or the final stage, which is certainly a nice buff. Special stat for special damage. Alright, good. Oh, you can read... Can you read his notes? Is that... Can't really stand there. I should try to remember these, because it is kind of important. So, special in Gen 1. Fire, water, ice, grass, electric, psychic, dragon. Dragon's good to remember. It doesn't come up very often, but... Mostly the ones you'd expect to be special. We've got a Pokemon tutor. I like how this town had a Pokemon school. Wherever we grew up, we weren't even allowed to go this far before we got a Pokemon to fight. So we weren't even allowed up here. But yeah, like I explained a little bit, I think it was a good idea for the hacker to add this little school in. Not that very many people that are playing, you know, Pokemon Red nowadays don't know probably the basics, but it really wasn't in the game explained very well, so you wouldn't have known this stuff unless you just guessed. But yeah, anything of these types uses your physical attack and defense in this generation. Yeah, no Pokemon abilities, so no free levitates and intimidates and all the other weird stuff. Just keeps it a little bit simpler, but yeah. There are still priority moves. Quick attack. Comet Punch might be new. It's fighting, I believe. Wing attack wasn't priority before, but is now, I guess. I'm pretty sure wing attack was just a regular flying attack. There was like Swift, I think, was like a flying priority. I can't remember them all, but obviously there's some changes. We gotta work on that. There's Confusion. Yep. 2 to 5 turns. You can switch it out. Cool. Alright, that's probably all the notes we need, right? Homework. Write a poem. Oh no, this is the worst. Write a poem about 10 Pokemon moves. Water gun is fun. Squirtle is the one. A nice shower waters my flowers. Yeah, great. We have a... What? We have a new visitor to class. What? You're from Pallet Town. I bet you didn't even go to school there. I heard they were looking for a lad at the Pokemart. Okay, we have to come back. There is a thing we're going to get from that guy, but we have to come back after we do the first quest. For the frog, the bell... What? I mean, there's for whom the bell tolls. I don't know what game he's playing. Anyway, let's go. We'll be back. We got to talk to that teacher to get a new item, but we got to go do the delivery introduction quest first here. You know, Professor Oak. Here, take this stuff. Be a delivery boy. Don't get paid. But yeah, we don't even have a Pokedex yet, technically, so that's what we do. This guy's new as well, this little kid here. Yo, can you believe they don't even sell TMs? How are you supposed to get cool moves? Yeah. We'll see him again later. Anybody else want to say anything cool? Like, this shop sells antidotes. Maybe, because there's a poisonous forest coming up. Are there frogs? Not in Gen... No, not in Gen 1. I'm sure there must be in future generations. I think there's even a starter that's a frog eventually. But I don't know. I don't know the modern... I kind of know like the first 3 or 4 gens a little, and then after that, like, nothing. I don't really care about bug Pokemon. Oh, wait, I wanted to check one thing. Normally you can't buy anything until you come back from Professor Oak. Yeah, you still can't. I was kind of thinking the Romhack might be like, you know what? Just let them buy some Pokeballs while you're here. It's fine. We might as well go to the Poke Center. I will show you a secret from later in the game that speeds this up. You're not supposed to know it until a little bit later until you get to Mount Moon, approximately. There's a Pokemon Towner in every town, except for our hometown doesn't even have one. We really did grow up in the I don't know. We just grew up in a town with no school, no Poke Center, just nobody there. There is a computer. Cool. We can use that. I will warn you guys, the box system really sucks in Gen 1. It's been improved a little in this hack, but you have to like change boxes and stuff manually. You can't see what's in them. It's like the remake on the Game Boy Advance PureRed is much improved on this one on how to move stuff around. But oh well, it's fine. We'll survive. Anyway, let's get this tutorial done with so we can play the real game of catching them all. When I first played, like probably most people, I did a bit of grinding because I played a lot of RPGs as a kid, like Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest stuff. So I think I leveled up to, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 Charmander here, because they actually level up pretty quickly in this early point in the game, right? It doesn't take too long to get level 10 or 11 at this point. And so once you get the Pokeballs to actually capture them, I just one-shot everything. I was like, oh, well, how am I supposed to capture it? They just die instantly. That was my first experience. It was fine. I'm sure I caught them all eventually. So, the idea is that there's some reason to not overlevel anyway, right? Because just kill stuff. Alright, let's get this done. Here you go. How's my old Pokemon? Well, it's, at least it is like a grass type, so I guess it's officially a plant, but it's more like a dinosaur with a plant growing on it, so it's kind of cool. It's kind of cooler than the other plants. Alright. Simple request to the 10-year-old that lives next door. I invented this little computer, and you're going to go out there and catch every dragon, monster, legendary bird, you know, pile of garbage, slime, and gas in the world to learn about them. Good job for 10-year-olds. Just go scoop up all the trash, as well as literal molten magma and exploding rocks. It'll be fine. Get going. Hurry up and... My greatest undertaking in all Pokemon history is to send out 2 10-year-olds to capture all the dinosaurs in the land. Yeah. Alright, we'll go get a map. Thanks, Stinker. Here. You stink, as you do. I mean, his catchphrase is smell you later, so maybe he's projecting a little there. Alright, at least the sister is cool. She gives you the map. You know. Easy. Alright, done. I think we're pretty much out of the tutorial at this point. So now we have access to the Pokédex, and we have access to the map this way as well. So that's great. Old school map. And, you know, you've got your objective. Gotta beat 8 gyms, get their badges, challenge the Elite Four, catch all the Pokemon. Ah, what's a 10-year-old to do? Can't believe we're 42 minutes in, I haven't even captured a Pokemon. The intro's a little slow. So this is a good time to show off super speed. Because we're about to... That's right. Because we picked the grass type, we're actually weak to flying. Not that... I don't know if Pidgeys normally get a flying attack early on. But some of the most common early game Pokemons are actually good at killing us. Bugs and birds. Why does anyone pick Bulbasaur to start? Alright, let's see if we can get up to this. Did he give us? I always forget. No, we have 1 potion, but no balls. Sorry, no balls. So let's just speed these first few fights up a little bit. We could probably try to run away, but we need the XP. Level 8, you know. Get a level up or 2 on the way is fine. There you go. Alright. We will buy as many Pokeballs as we can get. Honestly... No, because you actually die to poison if you can't get rid of it. Even when you're walking around, they'll faint if you can't cleanse it. So we need at least a few antidotes. And... there's no other way to get rid of Paralyze either. There's probably a few early game Paralyzers. Not too much that's going to burn you early on, though, probably, so that'll just have to do. Alright, let's go finish school, because I can get that done today for this first episode. Got to get a little bit more progress here on video 1. Alright, so, welcome to class, Wood. I'm very chuffed. So, he wants to learn about all the Pokemon moves, and make a MoveDex. Not in the vanilla game. So I would like one, yes. Capital. Tell you what, good chap. Have a gander about the school and learn some new bits and bobs. I like it. Perfect score, net you the MoveDex. We don't need to study. We know everything, right? Chat, you can help me out here. Ready for the quiz. The hardest Pokemon quiz you ever did take. Which move type is great against water? We're starting off pretty easy. Because we are the grass. Alright. Which move always goes first? There's one trick one. Agility sounds like you go first, but no. You quickly attack to go first. I gotta hold it. I gotta pause for a second so chat has a check-in, or the future tubers have a chance to to guess. It's super hard. Which status cuts the attack stat? Now this is something I bet you a fair number of people don't know, but we did learn it recently. So it is the burn effect. But I bet you people don't know. Not everybody knows that. Which move has properties of multiple types? Yeah, when we talked to the one that said the try attacks. It's a special one. Kind of unique in Gen 1, I think. Maybe just this Romhack. Bonus damage by Squirtle. Well, you know, it's kind of in his name, I guess. Should have called it Squirt Gun. Anyway, that's it. It's a really super hard quiz. Enjoy your MoveDex. But the MoveDex is a really good feature in a game where you can't normally check what the moves do. I'll show you this, guys, in just a second. So normally, right, in Gen 1, you're like, ah, cool, whip it. He's got some stats. He's got a type. Cool. He's got some moves. You can see their power, or the power points remaining, whatever. But that's it. You don't get to know anything about them. What does Tackle do? Well, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't think it was until like Gen 3 when they let you see the whole spread of, you know, how much power, type, special or not special later on, and details. So the solution this hack added is a MoveDex. And you do have to add them as you see them. So Scratch, there you go, 40 power, 100% accuracy, a little bit of a description, and if it has any special effects, it will show it. Now, we haven't actually used, because we haven't actually used Leech Seed yet, we haven't seen it. It's weird. You can know a move that doesn't show up in the MoveDex until it happens in battle. So if you really want to learn it, you have to actually try it out and see how it works. But it's kind of a cool system. I like it. Just compared to the base game. Like, you know, I think Pokemon Blue and Red were pretty huge successes already. It's obviously not a problem. But, like, imagine if the game had come out with some of these features in the 90s. That would have been really impressive. Yeah, we gotta go through Forest soon. He had his coffee. But are you in a hurry? Yes. So remember, usually you have to go to the catching tutorial here before you can go north. We don't have to do that, so at least they cut that out. This is really good, though. HP up. Not because I want to use it, but it's worth a lot of money. So I can buy more Pokeballs. No! Okay, everyone, you remember the cultural event of Twitch Plays Pokemon from probably many years ago. Ledges. The end of us. Alright. Some weird ground Pokemon gym that's never open. Okay, I think I've been to all the houses. I've talked to all the people here. We should really try to do a little bit of catching before we end the first episode here. So the reason I was really happy to see that HP up is we can sell it for a lot of money. And now we've got enough to buy more balls if we want. We actually can't buy potions here, interestingly enough. I'm just gonna buy a bunch of balls. How can you be the very best that's gonna catch them all if you don't have just every ball available, basically? Okay, now for today, first episode, let's at least try to catch the beginner Pokemon here in the starter zone. It's not a Nuzlocke, so we're not like only keeping the first one we catch or something. Now, catch mechanics are a bit weird in Gen 1, too. It would be better if we had Paralyze or Sleep. But if we get them below a third, it will be easier to catch with a regular ball. I forget the exact rule. I did look into it at some point long ago about catch mechanics in Gen 1, but it's been a very long time. Unfortunately, holding A or B or up or down, whatever your friends at school said, actually don't matter. So, hey, 1 for 1. Good start. We've caught the bird. Normal flying, that looks pretty normal to me. I do like, this is another new feature. Just want to show this off for a moment. They show you the base stats, not the actual stats. This is if you look them up on like a Wikipedia or whatever, those are their effectively like stat growths is probably the way to look at it. And this proves special is both special attack, special defense. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like the fact that it's in game. There's a way to actually compare them. There is an early version of effort values or EVs. It's not the same as modern Pokemon's. It's like stat XP, so it works differently. But yes, if you use them, like a level 100 Pidgey that never fought a fight would have like base stats, well, whatever the calculation is. But they'd use those base stats to generate their current stats. Whereas if you had fought 500 Rattatas along the way, it would have boosted stats above the base stats from the stat XP from killing stuff. I'm not going to try to explain it all. Just know that it's a thing that's happening in the background, if you care. But we should name the bird. This is just going to be like, I don't know. We do have a lot of spaces for naming here. Can we fit like regular bird? Because honestly, it's just not quite. It's just think of a dumb name for just regular bird. Garbage bird? It's a pigeon, right? Still gonna be too long. Normal bird. I think I'm gonna go garbage bird. Because I mean, we've seen pigeons. I live in a city with lots of pigeons, and I don't know why you'd ever want one on your team. So garbage bird is how I'm going to do it. We're not going to use them either, because it's, I will say, even though I don't, like, it's fine. Pidgey's okay. It's one of the ones I almost always would use, because, you know, you don't have a lot of choices in the early game. So I'm going to try to replace it with something else as soon as we get a replacement. Also rats. I guess you could say pigeons are kind of flying rats, so maybe it's related. Not angry. Okay, just gotta be quicker on the chat ones, but we will probably be catching a Rattata soon, so you guys can come up with some nicknames for them. We could do the stall tactic where you leech seed them to heal and drop their attack. We're still taking 2 damage and stealing 1. That's not enough. Still doing 2 damage. We can growl him down to the point where he will only do 1 damage on a hit. Oh wait, no, that's, sorry, I'm using growl, not, there's a different one that does attack down. I'm doing defense down. Oh well. I can't remember what, these are the, you know, status ups and down moves. Nobody ever uses those. Let's just kill it. Oh, actually, it might be a good time to catch it then. I was trying to set it up so we could regenerate and heal a little bit. But it's not really effective at this point in the game. So let's just put it in the ball. Get it out of the way. The catch rate on these low-level normal types at low HP, at like 1 HP, it's pretty high. So we're just really good at the game, basically. Yeah, so this is just a regular normal type rat. It's really just a regular rat. I mean... Now, I like to think the name is kind of like tat-tat-tat, like shooting a gun or something. So you could maybe make like some sort of gun-themed name. Or it's just, you know, regular rat, you know? Like, it's just... let's go with... Well, Pallet Town is a dump. We can go Dumpster. That's a great name for a rat. Probably enjoys it. Alright. So that's the 2 regular encounters on this zone. Splinter. Oh man, Dark Angel. You are like 10 seconds away from giving him a way cooler name than he deserves. Technically, we can rename him. So if we bring the rat, there's a chance. I think... I'm just going to speed this up for a second. I'm going to do a couple extra fights here. I want to end this episode 1 before an hour is up. But, I don't know the encounter list that's been changed. I think there's at least one new one in each zone. Besides the standard stuff that you normally get in this first area. Let me just see. I don't want to overgrind or anything, but like I'll try to get to like level 9. If we see something new by then we know. But if we don't, then we also... I mean, you know, I think even in the base game there are like 4% encounter rates of certain types that are just very hard to find. Doesn't look very good today. It is possible there's nothing new and I'm just crazy. Level 9. Let's do 3 more encounters. And maybe we'll just run to try not to overlevel. So this is like maybe a total of 10 or 12 encounters. Well, running saves a lot of time. We do 3 more. At this point, I'm feeling pretty confident that there's only the basics. Rats and flying rats. Oh! Ho ho! We stuck around just long enough to find not a rat. So I'm sure a lot of people are real excited to see a random Eevee at level 3. You should be, because we're probably just going to kill it in one shot. Yeah, I mean, this is usually unique. You only get one of these normally. We should catch 3 of them. I don't know if we'll one-shot it. We probably won't. Nah, we actually don't even two-shot it. Bulbasaur, I gotta remember, doesn't have the highest physical attack, I don't think. I have to look at his stat spread, actually, a little bit better. My favorite Eevee evolution? In Gen 1, probably Jolteon. Maybe Vaporeon, a little bit. I think it was one of my better water types on one of my runs, because I used to go Charmander, so getting a nice water type was good. I think the problem with the Gen 1 Eevees is they generally all have bad moves, right? Like, the stats are pretty good, but they only learn, like, a couple of their same type moves and very little else. So they're not really great compared to other more versatile Pokemons. But yeah, I don't know. I know they added a bunch of new ones. Like Gen 2 added the night and dark, or light and day and night ones, right? Like those were kind of neat. I think there's a grass one nowadays. I don't know. There's probably so many that I don't know. What am I doing? Reading chat, not catching this thing in a ball. All right, we got it. Not too hard. Only took 2 tries. So what do we know about Eevees? It's the evolution Pokemon. It may mutate if it's exposed to See? This is a very dangerous world. You can put like hundreds of random radioactive rocks in your pocket, feed them to your animals, and they mutate into stranger monsters. What does this do to 10-year-olds if you've got a backpack full of radiating firestones and thunderstorms? I love some of the stupid lore bits. It's so good. Alright, anyway, special Eevee. Alright, let's go, what is he? Is he supposed to be a cat? Did we ever figure that out? Like, there is a fire fox. There's, like, the Vulpix line. There's a fire dog, for sure, Growlithe. So this is not really a fire fox or a fire dog. Are they cats? Is it official? So I was gonna call it Firefox, but like it's not. There is a Firefox specifically, so it can't be that. I don't know. I'm gonna turn into a. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be. I'm gonna try to catch 3 of them, right? So we'll name one for each of the 3. We can rename them later too if we want, but let's go. I'm at a loss for these things. I mean, we learned that they're radioactive, basically, right? Can we? I don't know if that can fit. Radioactive? No, that's gonna be way too long. It's close. We'll go with it. We can shorten it a little bit. Gotta add the things we learned from the Pokedex. I know how to spell, I promise. Okay, radioactive... Chernobyl. Yeah, maybe we'll catch another one. I think what I'll do is I'm going to end episode 1 right here, which is about an hour, and that's fine. And I think that'll be the 3 Pokemons on this first zone. I'm just going to catch 2 more of the Eevees, because you know you're going to want 1 for each stone. Even if we don't use them, we want to catch them all, right? So you got to have the alternate. And we're not going to do breeding. I don't even think it's in this game, thankfully. Actually, no, there's no egg mechanics till Gen 2, so there's no such thing, thankfully. So we're going to end the episode 1 here, but I will catch 2 more of these between, so the live tubers can see it. It's not going to take... Well, it'll take as long as it takes to encounter them. I don't expect it to be a big deal. Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, future tubers. I hope you've enjoyed, and come along with me for a silly ride through an old game with a new coat of paint in Pokemon PureRed. So I'll see you next time as we head out of Pallet Town into wherever we go. Have a great day.